The Spirituality Now podcast is sponsored by Delaflor Teachings International, a spiritual and systemic coaching and consulting company with the mission to help individuals, businesses, and corporations create brilliant futures through sustainable transformation. Also sponsored by the Network for Human Empowerment, a philanthropic TV network that serves Spanish-speaking communities with free, conscious education aimed to empower individuals to become the best versions of themselves. And our podcast producer, Ascend Media, Authority Syndication, delivering premium video marketing, podcast production, and social syndication.
Welcome to the Spirituality Now podcast, a podcast committed to supporting you in your journey to life mastery and personal enlightenment. Welcome, my friends, to the Spirituality Now podcast. I am your host, Yvonne de la Flor, and I am super honored and excited because I have one of my dearest friends here in the podcast. She's a powerhouse of a being, of a woman, of a business owner. She's so focused in business that she doesn't know this, but every time we used to have a call and everything, her focus is so relentless that I was like, I could learn something from her, and I'm sure everyone here can learn something from her too. Her name is Lucy Ibarra. She's in California, based in California. She's a mortgage lender who serves her community through creating a deep human experience through obtaining home ownership. And I tell you, it's true what the bio says, because I if you follow her in social media, and we'll make sure to put all her social media details in the copy of this podcast. It's incredible. It's so empowering how she announces when someone has a new home and everything. I'm excited. Anyways, her heart has led her to community for women who are growing through their own healing journey from past trauma to believe enough in themselves to become homeowners or to set other goals in motion. She's the co-founder with Rising with Grace community. In 2019, they created workshops and events were set up to allow a platform and safe space for women to unite in their self-growth and healing journeys. This experience propelled Lucy to create additional spaces for younger generations of women to break generational cycles in order to show up differently for themselves and their futures. And oh my goodness, isn't this so needed right now more than ever? This was all inspiring her finding herself through her own personal journey, through her mother's own experience, and from wanting her daughter and future generations to use their voices. She's also a wife, a mother of 3 grown children, and a grandmother of 3. And she has the cutest children and the most adorable grandkids, because I'm a fan of the grandkids. So my beloved friend Lucy, welcome to the podcast.
Wow, thank you so much for having me. What an honor to be here. Yvonne, I admire you. I love you. You have been such a huge force in my life. So I'm so grateful to be here with you, and thank you.
Yes. And so, you have a very powerful message. And I love, I like to interview people in this podcast. It's called Spirituality Now. And for me, spirituality is really living the best that we can as a good human in this human experience. Whatever the spiritual path of each individual that we bring into the podcast is, I really feel that true spirituality is not woo-woo out there, not woo-woo in everywhere, but it's in the business, it's in the challenges, it's in the surviving, the traumas as you speak, as we read in your bio, not only surviving from them, but learning something and then creating with that something good for our communities. Just be a good human. I think that's the most spiritual thing I have found lately, especially since the pandemic started. Whoever is a good human and is doing good for the world cheers for you. Anyways, so Lucy, you are a very powerful businesswoman. You are also so committed, so focused. I love also how you train so hard, fitness wise, how you are so present in your marriage and for your grandkids, that adorable little baby boy that was born recently. I feel like part of the, of the journey. I love him so much. But
You are.
tell us a little bit about your beginnings, because you are a very powerful woman that is married, that has kids, that has the human challenges, that is very spiritual, a deep connection with God. But where did it all begin, love?
I am very grateful that I came from humble beginnings. I came from immigrant parents, both from Mexico, came to the United States, and definitely made sure that we were rooted in our culture. We were all born here, and definitely had the blessing of growing up with parents that taught us how to work hard, that taught us that we definitely needed to make sure that we did right by others and that we would get blessings in return because of it. And I obviously, went through different life situations, right, that molded me into this person. Definitely was not always here, as you well know. And, I saw my parents work hard, struggle, make it, as real estate investors eventually, and always stayed humble. Never lived a different life. You would see my dad on the street and you would never know that by the time he passed away, he owned multiple properties, apartment complexes, and such. But he was very committed to keeping us very grounded. My mom as well. My mom was just a driving force when it came to many situations. My dad used to share with us that he was terrified to purchase his first property, and had my mom not pushed him and told him, let's have faith, let's do this, they wouldn't have done it. So I really attribute the fact that I am in this real estate world because I saw my parents do it, and all because of my mom, which is pretty incredible considering that she didn't speak up about a lot of things, but this one was one that she was very, very big on because she saw others around her do it. And therefore created this entrepreneurship in us, eventually becoming an owner of our own business, being a housekeeper, which it's funny, at that time we were, I remember feeling kind of a bit embarrassed, oh my goodness, my mom's doing this, I can't let people find out. And it's incredible now how much I admire the sacrifice that she did in having this business, working for herself after years of working, for a company and making others money. It's just incredible how the tables turned, and how I attribute being an entrepreneur and having my own business and working for my own clients, because I saw my mom tell people word of mouth, hey, I clean homes if you know somebody that needs it. So it's incredible when you honor their journey and you honor their sacrifice, where you actually show up for yourself. And that's really where I came from. They made many sacrifices to send us to private school, and eventually we ended up going to public school. But to see immigrant parents who were very humble, showing up to school events, that sort of deal, but yet wanted to try to give us the best, it's humbling, and
Yes.
definitely made it to where I wanted to make them proud eventually. And I hope that I'm still doing that for them.
I love that of you, Lucy. I'm such a believer and a supporter of honoring our ancestors, of honoring where we came from, and of really respecting. It's one of the main spiritual, not rules, but spiritual ethics of any tradition. Honor your father and your mother. And I love how vulnerable you shared, like you were ashamed of, like, oh, I cannot share what my mom did, but actually what your mom did was an entrepreneur. And I
Right.
love how powerful you share about her. And I've known you for a while, and you're one of the most reverent and respectful people for their family. And I really believe this value has been missing a lot in humanity right now, because of social media, because of all the craziness and all the separation, etc. So I so love that you work empowering women, empowering people, and homeowners, etc., to bring back that voice that will bring reverence, humility, power, and entrepreneurship in a way that is ethical and conscious. I think that's an incredible contribution in the world. So you face that challenge and you face that blessing, and you were able to realize, hey, what a gift, Actually, yeah, you became an entrepreneur. That's so amazing. That's so amazing. And you are still wanting to make your parents proud. But before we go into the very deep, juicy things, share with me, because I'm always so impressed how focused you are. What do you attribute the focus that you have for your work, your business, and share a little bit with us what you do in your business, all the mortgage thing, and the focus that you have for your business too.
Yes. So the way that it works in my world is I do like to say that I am in a male dominant business, right? We make the most of who we are in whatever business we go into. But I remember thinking to myself, I'm getting into this end of it, and I will never forget that when I told my dad, Papi, I'm going to get into lending. This is what I'm thinking of doing. And unfortunately, my dad had two pretty horrible experiences with lenders in the past from some of the properties he had purchased. And I remember, I will never forget, he mentioned to me, always pick up your phone, make sure you take everybody's call or you call back, number one. And number two, in Spanish, hazte rica porque le ayudaste a mucha gente, no porque le robaste a una persona o porque le quitaste dinero a una persona.
Oh, you have to translate that again. That's gold. Please say it.
Yes. Yes. So in translated, he said, make sure that you become rich because you helped many people, not because you took from just one person. And to me, that was the base, that was the foundation, because it let me know that through my parents' own experiences, unfortunately, they were taken advantage of twice from lenders who just took advantage of their weakness or what they saw for their weakness because of language barriers. And it really set a foundation for me to where to this day, I tell people that when I see somebody that comes from their background, they purchased their very first property when I was about 4 years old. And I heard stories as we grew up. And when I see somebody from their background come through, I see my parents every single time. And I remember the fact that what I do for these clients, I have children, I have grown children, I have grandchildren that are going to be in the world, and I want them to be taken care of because I put something good out in the universe. I did something good for others. And so for me, my business isn't just mortgage. It's not just helping somebody with a home loan. It really is honoring my parents. And it's amazing when I look at the idea that I'm an instrument of God. I am a
Amen.
person put in this position because he knows what I'm trying to do for others. And it's just, when I look at it that way, it's such a blessing. Even my children just got an offer accepted on a home this week. And to see how everything is falling into place with this home, I feel like it's just because of them watching out for us and what I have been doing for others. So I really do. I'm very spiritually connected with how I treat my business and how I treat my clients. And it can be an attorney. It can be somebody who is a very humble backgrounds, but they're all going to get the same treatment and the same love.
Wow, that's so powerful. I'm very spiritually connected to my business. Boom. A lot of people talk about bring spirituality to your business, bring the ethics, but you are actually doing it. And I've known you for so long to say that I'm a witness of this. And I'm going to keep saying it. I'm so impressed, so moved, and so encouraged that you are offering this for your parents, for the future generations, knowing the background of immigrants, knowing the challenges. But I also love how you stated, because God knows what I want to do. Wow, that was pure faith, like pure, in Sanskrit, in the Hindu traditions, they call it Shaktipat, a transmission from a guru. I just received that. So anyway, so my friends, a lot of people that send me messages, private messages, like, Yvonne, you have a lot of friends that are in India. You have a lot of friends that are very well-known gurus. Why do you don't invite them? Because I want to invite the spiritual teachers that are out there in